Hi Class T, I hope you're well. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be reading the book that you chose from the library called Run Wild by Jill Lewis, and it's one of our Class T recommended books. So, let's get started with Chapter 1. We wouldn't have thought of going to the old gasworks if it weren't for the school brothers Luke and Scott. Luke's in year 10 and Scott's in year 7, same as me. I've known them for forever. At primary school, Luke was always in trouble. But Scott was okay back then. He always did eco duty with me and helped refill the bird feeders. We spent break time drawing animals all over the playground with pavement chalks. But Scott doesn't talk to me anymore. Scott doesn't talk to anyone anymore. He doesn't come into school much, and when he does, he sticks with Luke. Everyone says they're trouble. I heard one teacher say they live with their nan because their mum can't cope with them. Luke and Scott reckon they own everything round here. They say the skateboard park belongs to them. They've spray painted graffiti skulls on the concrete. It's not much of a skate park, just a double ramp next to the small kids' play park. But it's all we've got. We're not allowed to skate or play ball games around our estate. It's like fun is forbidden. Luke said no one could use the skateboard park unless they could do a flat ground ollie. That's when you make your board do a jump from the ground into the air with you still on it. Asher said we needed somewhere to learn our tricks. But Luke said girls couldn't skate anyway. Asher was really mad at that. She said there was no way those school brothers were going to tell us what to do. And that's when we went to the old gasworks. We wanted to find somewhere to practice our skateboard moves. We wanted to show Luke and Scott that girls could skate better than them. That's why our story really begins before we found the wolf. It begins with us standing outside the fence around the broken down gasworks as we looked for a way to get in. It's a hot July day. The roads are busy with rush hour traffic. The air is full of dust and car fumes. Drivers hoot and toot at each other, all keen to get home. No one seems to notice us standing outside the old gasworks. I can feel sweat trickle down my back as I tug at the wire fence. Connor pulls me back and points at a sign that says, "Danger! Do not enter." "We can't go in there, Izzy," Connor says. "Mum will kill us if she finds out." "Well, she's not going to know, and you're not going to tell her," I say. "She won't be back from work until 6, which is why we're stuck with you." "I'm not going in there," he says. He folds his arm and glares at me to show he means it. "Well, I can always take you home," I say. Connor looks like he might cry when I say that, and I feel bad. That was a mean thing to say. I know he doesn't want to be stuck at home with Dad. Dad lost his job 6 months ago, and since then he's hardly gone out. He sits at home and snaps at everything Connor and I do. He used to take us to the cinema in the park, but he doesn't anymore. Asher digs into her bag. "You can have my crisps," she says to Connor, and she holds the crisp packet up where he can't get it. She's known him all his life, and sometimes I think she knows him better than I do. Connor frowns. "Can I have all of it?" he asks. Asher holds it up high. "Once we're in," she says. He kicks at the bottom of the fence and tugs at some weeds that are growing up the wire. "Through here," he says. "We can fit through this gap." Asher and I squeeze through after him. We get stung by nettles as we shove our bags and skateboards under the wire. "Not a word about this, Connor," I say. "Not a word to anyone." The gasworks had been empty for years. Grandad told us he can remember the ships coming up the Thames to London with coal that they burnt at the gasworks to make gas for the city. The huge steel frames are part of the skyline, and now it's a wasteland. TV companies come and film gritty crime dramas there, and I heard someone say that the land is about to be bought up and made into shops and offices, but nothing's happened yet. We walk around the back of one of the huge metal gas tanks. Weeds, railway tracks, and rusted railway trucks stretch out before us. It's like one of those end-of-the-world movies where everyone dies and the plants have taken over. I didn't realise it was this big, says Asher. It goes on and on, I say. Asher nudges me. Over there. There's some flat ground by the river. We'll practice there. Asher gives Connor a crisps, and we set our boards down on the stretch of concrete. It's uneven, and weeds sprout from the smallest cracks, but no one can see us, and we're free to practice. I watch Connor walk away from us down a ramp to the river, munching on his crisps. He stands at the water's edge and pushes his toe into the line of plastic cans that marks where the river lay at high tide. Stay away from the water, Con! I yell. Asher gives me a shove. Come on, she says. Let's show the school brothers what we're made of. I put my board down behind Asher and try to follow her. It's a good thing we have our helmets and elbow and knee pads, because we hit the ground more times than we can count. I get better at my turns, but however hard I try, I just can't get the board off the ground. I still can't do an ollie. I shout out to Asher. Asher tries and falls flat on her back. She sits up and looks across at me. We'll learn, she says. We have to. I know she's not going to give up. I glance at my watch and realise we've been out for ages. I'll have to get Connor home soon before Mum gets back from work. I turn to look for him at the river's edge, but I can't see him anymore. All I can see are ripples in the river and an empty crisp packet floating on the water. A few bubbles rise up from the dark water and break the surface. Connor! I yell. Connor! No answer. I begin to run down to the water, my heart thumping. Connor! Connor! I was too stupid to leave him on his own. He's not a strong swimmer. Asher's right behind me, yelling at the water too. Connor! I begin to panic. Connor! Shh! Connor's head pops out of some bushes beside me. Shh! He says again. You'll scare my dinosaur. I grab his arm. That's not even funny. Connor yanks himself free. There's a dinosaur. And that Coreopteryx. It's sitting in that bush. Shut up about dinosaurs, I snap. I thought you'd drowned. Connor had been obsessed with dinosaurs for years. He had notebooks full of his drawings of them. He knows all their names and where they lived. He even told the museum they were wrong when they put a T-Rex with a Stegosaurus. Connor said they could never have been seen together as they existed 80 million years apart. I know what an Arachnopteryx is. It's always been Connor's favourite. It's a weird dinosaur, like a bird with feathers and claws. Connor looks back at me. He folds his arm and blinks his back tears. There's one in that bush, he says. Asher doesn't believe him. Come on then, Dino Boy, show us, she says. Connor leads the way as we scramble through the branches until we come face to face with a big black bird that glares back at us. It does look a bit like a dinosaur. It has a head like a lizard and scaly skin round its beak. Bird poo covers the ground like white paint. It stinks, I say. It's a cormorant, says Asher. You see loads further down the river. They stand on posts to stretch their wings out to dry. The cormorant opens its beak wide and makes a gargling, hissing sound at us. I back away. Come on, let's leave it alone. We have to get home before Mum does a nut. Cormorant, repeats Connor. He doesn't want to go home yet. We grab our bags and boards and head back the way we've come. It'll be quicker if we go this way, I say, and I lead us along an overgrown rail track past a red brick building. We stop to look inside. It's huge, with red brick arches that rise high into the roof. It's cooler in there too. Afternoon sunlight falls through the broken glass windows in the ceiling. Connor runs ahead of us along the old train track and pretends to be a train. Asha pulls me round and points. Look, she says, that's exactly what we need. On the far side of the building, a long brick ramp comes down the wall next to the river. The ramp is about twice as long and twice as high as the ramps in the skate park. I can see myself flying down it, twisting and bending round the fallen bricks. It's perfect, I say. I check the time. We'll come back tomorrow. Asha grins. We'll show the school brothers that we can skate. Hey, Connor! I shout. Time to go! He's still pretending to be a train. I watch him go round the rusty tracks across the floor of the building, moving his arms like pistons. Toot, toot! He shouts. Toot, toot! Suddenly, he stops dead. Then he turns and starts to sprint towards us. Wolf! He screams. When he reaches me, he grabs my arm and spins around to see if something is chasing him. First a dinosaur, now a wolf, I say with a sigh. You don't think we believe you, do you? But Connor's hand grips my arm so tightly that I feel his fingernails dig deep into my skin. Wolf, he says again. What exactly did you see? asks Asha. Connor's eyes are wide open. A wolf, he says. I only saw the back of its head, but it's a wolf. A big, grey wolf. Probably a dog, if there's anything there at all, I say. Asha frowns. Let's go. I don't like dogs. He might be hurt, I say. I look across the building. I've always wanted to find a stray dog and take it home and ask Mum to let us keep it. I'm going to look. Connor holds on to me. It's a wolf, is it? Yeah, right, I say. Let's go and see. I walk ahead of them. Asha hangs back, holding Connor's hand. I try to look brave, even if I don't feel it. What if it is a dog? It might be dangerous. I creep along slowly and listen out for any noise. Then I see it. About 10 feet away on a pile of old sacks. It's licking its front paw. It stops and lifts its head to look at me. It's huge. Bigger than any dog I've ever seen. It has rough grey fur and golden eyes. And it stares back at me. This isn't anybody's pet. It has the wild inside. All I can do is stare while it stares back. Connor's right. It's a wolf. A wolf in London. Right here. Right now. And that's the end of chapter 1. There's going to be a task for you to complete underneath this video box. And be ready for chapter 2 tomorrow. Have fun. Bye.